Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ground and Pound Podcast Best Bets video for UFC Shanghai. Zhang taking on Walker in the main event. And as always, we got to talk some parlays. We got to talk props. We got to talk money lines here on the Ground and Pound Podcast. And as always, if you're enjoying the content, hit that like and subscribe button as we talk about the slam of the week, the bet that I put the most money on every single week. This currently is sitting at 9-13 on the channel, looking to make it 10 of our last 14 bets for the slam of the week. Looking to get back on track after Kaya Sakura shit the bed. And kicking things off in the first leg, we have Aljamain Sterling. I like Sterling here to get it done against Brian Ortega. I think that the wrestling's really going to be the difference maker in this fight. I think that Aljamain Sterling can control wherever the fight takes place. On the feet, he's a little bit more dynamic. He's a little bit more athletic. Throws stuff at weird angles, whereas Brian Ortega mostly just throws calf kicks and uses the boxing. I think Sterling can definitely catch him off guard here and land something big on the feet, whether it be a funky kick, hence the nickname, along with you mixing in the grappling and the wrestling. As long as he minds his P's and Q's on the ground and minds the triangles and guillotines here of Brian Ortega, I think that he can get this one done. Maybe on the ground with a decision with his wrestling, or maybe find some sort of big knockout on the feet from a shot that Brian Ortega doesn't see coming. But give me Aljamain Sterling here to kick things off in our confident slam of the week. And for our second leg here, we have Michel Pereira. I think he gets this one done here against Kyle Dorcas. Kyle Dorcas is over the hill. There was a reason the UFC cut him, mostly just a grappler. I think that he gets bullied in a lot of his fights. That's how he loses. Michel Pereira can go in here and definitely bully a guy like Kyle Dorcas. And when we've seen Dorcas fight in the past, we've seen him get kneed and held up against the fence. We've seen him get held up against the fence against much bigger opponents. And I think that Michel Pereira could do that. But I also think that Michel Pereira can come in here and find the finish on the feet or use the grappling. I think wherever this fight goes, Pereira is going to be the more athletic, dangerous striker, and overall the more likely to finish this fight. And he's going to be the second leg here in the confidence slam of the week. And for the third leg, just to round it out here to get us to plus money, we've got the under 4.5 in the main event. I think whichever way this fight plays out, there's going to be a finish. Zhang getting it done mostly inside the first round. Johnny Walker is one of the most chinny fighters in the UFC currently. There's no secret about that. We all know what Johnny Walker ends up. He usually ends up a meme, a highlight reel, knockout. And I think that's exactly what happens here. Under 4.5 rounds here to round out the slam of the week, sitting at plus 100. One that I put the most money on every single week. And hopefully we can get back in the win column this week. And next up, we have the chalk parlay. And as I just mentioned with Zhang by KO, I think he gets it done here as a fairly confident leg here. I think he's going to be able to knock Johnny Walker out. We all know that Johnny Walker is chinny. He is obviously 6'6", very athletic, still very dynamic in the striking, can get it done with the grappling. But we know that that chin's fading him, and Zhang is definitely a guy with power. Zhang can also grapple as well, but I think he comes in here, gets the first early knockout. The UFC knows what they're doing, giving him this opponent in his part of the world, in his region of the world here, as a big superstar to build a fan base. We're going to go with Zhang here by KO for the first leg of our chalk parlay. And for the second leg, we got Rong Zhu here, getting it done here against Austin Hubbard. Rong Zhu showed definitely an improved skill set in his previous fight. He showed that his move over to city kickboxing was definitely well observed. Obviously something that a lot of people didn't know about coming into that fight. He improved takedown defense, and the striking's always been there. He's always been a powerful boxer, does a good job of checking the low calf kicks and really swings wild in the pocket, does throws in combination as well. I like him to get it done here against Austin Hubbard, defend the takedowns, land the bigger shots on the feet, and he might even put Austin Hubbard out on the feet with the power that he possesses in the hands. Two legs here, chalk parlay, minus 110, sitting at about even money here on the best bets here on the Ground and Pound podcast. And next up, this is really just a flyer for you guys. There is absolutely no way that Weston Wilson should be sitting at plus 700 here. Gigi, or however you're pronouncing that name, it should not be nowhere near this big of a favorite. Weston Wilson, obviously very tall for the weight class, has that kickboxing sort of karate-based style where he's got a wide stance, bounces in and out on the feet. He has been chinned in the past. He does have fantastic jiu-jitsu, obviously very long limbs, so he can snatch up triangles and arm bars off of his back. But I see this fight really just being a case of, Weston Wilson is obviously very disrespected by the sports books and a lot of UFC fans, known for being one of these guys that comes in 36 years old and gets chinned. However, Yuji, or however you, like I said, however you're pronouncing that name, is really just a grappler. He's not necessarily known for the power in the hands. Yeah, sure, he could come in here and get the knockout against a chinny Weston Wilson, but if this fight plays out, pretty much how some of Weston Wilson's fights have played out, where he's been able to get the fight to the ground early and often, he could most definitely pull off a submission victory here. He's the bigger fighter in this one, and I think at plus 700, it's worth a sprinkle, especially at those odds here for Weston Wilson to get it done, and that's what we're going to do here on the Ground and Pound podcast. Moneyline play here, Weston Wilson, just to get it done. I do think he'll get it done inside the distance. If he does, maybe submission, but we're going to go with plus money here at plus 700, Weston Wilson to get it done, moneyline. And next up, we have the dog of the week. And if you haven't seen it already on the channel, the full highlight reel tape for the dog of the week, looking to make it 2 in a row after Aaran, the Miracle Murphy, got it done for us last week. And this week's dog of the week is Kevin Borjas. And obviously, I've gone over and I've explained why I like Kevin Borjas for this week's dog of the week. Full highlight reel tape on the channel. I'll leave a link in the description for that as well. Should be popping up on your video shortly here. And the dog of the week, looking to make it 2 in a row. Like I said, Kevin Borjas, dog of the week, looking to get it done. And obviously, I have to let you guys know what's coming on the channel. Like I said, the dog of the week this week, full highlight reel tape. Kevin Borjas is going to be the dog of the week, along with the full card breakdown here on the Ground and Pound podcast that Carlos and I did earlier on in the week for UFC Shanghai. Walker taking on Zhang in the main event. Full detail of each individual fight. And as always, if you're enjoying the content here on the Ground and Pound podcast, hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.